call upon Mr. Mbai, who has been a friend to doctors, as I see, for so long, for the last 6 years, to give us to introduce himself. You can't speak now. You have to wait until all presentations are made. So just introduce yourself, and then you can move on to something before you are not going anywhere.
You know, you don't give government instructions. Thank you very much, Dr. Kimundu. I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you for coming. And I want also to thank Dr. Kimundu for calling me and saying that I need to come and have dinner together with you. I cannot take that for granted because I know that when you are a leader and your team is having some discussion, I think it's necessary, even when you are not staying long, just pass by and say hi and give them your blessings. I was in the University of Nairobi when Ishaga was the Vice Chancellor. And I remember one day when students went on rampage during the time of Sonu. I remember Kabado was the chair of Sonu that time. They were very violent and ruthless, and they used to abuse even the president. And when we went to the square, the graduation square, where students had gathered, when Professor Ishaka came, he told us that, you know, when I look at you, I feel like a father with many sons and daughters. You can imagine so many thousands of students shouting at him and calling him all manner of names. So I also want to say this evening that I have come here as your boss. So I also feel like a father who is a father of daughters and sons, isn't it? And because I'm told that I'm only supposed to say my name and sit down, I want to request that I be allowed to leave at 9. So Dr. Nodi will make a decision where you want me to speak, either now or after 10 minutes from now, because I have to leave. But let me say this, that my name is Joseph Mbai. I'm a politician. Okay? And for those of you who don't know, I'm a student of biochemistry. I studied biochemistry from the University of Nairobi. I was in Chiromo. And most of doctors who were in school that time, before they went to medical school, some of them were our roommates. And I happened to have 2 roommates. One of them was Dr. Macau. And Dr. Macau passed on some years back. And he went to Kenyatta Hospital and became an ENT. That guy was my roommate. We stayed together for 2 years before he went to medical school. And I am not very lost when medical issues are discussed. Because of course, you know, biochemistry has some branch of medicine. And when I finished campus, I was employed by GlaxoSmithKline. I started there as a medical representative, and I grew. By the time I left Glaxo, I was the regional manager for East and Central Africa. And I had been trained properly in all diseases, asthma, low Glaxo, HIV. When Combivia came, we were selling it at 60,000. I remember very well, we were the people who went to talk to doctors like Silverstein and Washoe in the Nairobi Hospital about Combivia. Even when Celtite came, Wilson's and those. So I'm not very much lost when it comes to issues medical. I have been in the pharmaceutical industry for the last 20 years, and I've sold so many molecules. I understand some of those medicines very well. So when I got this job as a Minister of Health, which I started as a Chief Officer, I had interacted with doctors so much. And I had done my job when Moi was the president. And I remember very well, my first posting was at Jaramogi Oginga Hospital. The person who is the CEC of Health today in Siaya, Professor Richard Muga, was the PMO that time. I talked to Muga when I was a medical rep, when he was a provincial medical officer of health and a pediatrician like Dr. Kibuna. But it was so difficult to reach some of those guys, but we worked hard to reach them. And this one is very funny. Let me tell you, doctors, people are important. Respect one another. Because if I had messed with Professor Muga, now we met again when he became the DMS, isn't it? And that time I was a senior manager in Blackstone and I needed some documents signed. This one is small, you go this place, you go this. I also worked in a place called Homa Bay. And while I was at that place, that is the time I hated Moi most. Because when I used to go to the pharmacy, and I asked the pharmacist, why is it that everyone who is coming to this pharmacy is just going to Kavirondo to buy medicine? There was a pharmacy there called Kavirondo, owned by a man who was old days pharmacist. And everybody used to keep on going. Then one day, I had a friend of mine who was called Dr. Jeroga. I don't know where Dr. Jeroga went. So when I stayed on overnight, I used to go to the hospital and stay with him when patients are coming. And one day, we lost 9 babies because of malaria. And there was nothing. This guy doesn't have gloves. He doesn't have any syringes, no needles, nothing. Nothing, even a simple paracetamol syrup to take care of temperature, or even suppository. There was nothing. And all those mothers, every mother who used to come with a sick baby, they were being told, enda hapo kwa duka ununue dawa. Now, if they come at night, hiyo dawa watanunua wapi? So I used to see Moi and say, honestly, this is the president who doesn't care whether his people are dying there. And children used to die every day because of malaria. In those days, HIV was also very rampant in that area. So I used to see people die in the hands of doctors, and doctors have nothing to do because they cannot do anything because they have nothing. And that experience gave me a lot of connection with doctors. So when you see me having a lot of passion for doctors, it is not by the way, it is historical. It has come from far. If you remember the time the son of Elijah Mwanga died of malaria, I was in Kilifi. And Elijah Mwanga's son was brought to Kilifi Hospital. There was a Dr. Karanja, and Dr. Karanja wanted to inject him with, I don't know, quinine injection or something. And the family refused. And they said, our dad had said to take him to Aga Khan Hospital. And you know, Kilifi and Aga Khan Hospital is a distance. Because Aga Khan is in Mombasa. Kilifi is about 40 to 50 kilometers away from Mombasa. So they refused that he be seen by Dr. Karanja, and they decided to put him in a vehicle and take him to Mombasa. But by the time they reached Mombasa, I think things had gone haywire and he passed on. And Dr. Karanja kept on telling me, unajua Mbai, hawa watu ni wajinga sana. Unajua hawa watu, malaria sio kitu ya kupeleka Marekani. Hiyo ni kitu tukeni nayo wapi? Hapa. Tungemdunga hii na sahihi alikuwa sawa, but he died of malaria. So sad. And those were the realities of how doctors used to work those days. Over the years, I have been in the pharmaceutical industry and I've seen the health sector in Kenya come up. And I used to sit a group of doctors that used to call themselves Captain D. I don't know whether you know that. They were chest physicians. Dr. Watch, Dr. Muhindi, and Dr. Kimondu, like you. It's Kimondu Padile and Kama. And they were developing guidelines on how asthma should be treated. And we were the ones who were sponsoring that as Black Social Media. And I remember very well that they gave so many proposals and so many insights on how the health system in Kenya should be managed. But the problem with government, and I'm speaking now as government, the problem with government is that they don't listen to experts. And if you find a government that listens to the experts, that government can only do well. Because there is always the technical aspect of the people who know what they are supposed to do, and they give the correct advice, but some of us, because either by design or default, we think that we know it all, we don't follow that advice. So, I have seen Kenya grow. There was a Ministry of Health when HIV came in this country. And the Ministry of Health watched HIV grow from 0 to several percent. They also watched people contract HIV, and they kept on doing a lot of advertisement, go to meetings, PowerPoint presentations that never made sense, and people continued contracting HIV until it reached a stage whereby now it was a disaster. Was there a Ministry of Health that time? Yes, it was there. Now I'm hearing so many stories about cancer. Oh, I don't know what. Let's create a national disaster. When things go wrong, there is a government, there is a ministry that is supposed to deal with it. But the challenge we always have is that the government does not listen to the experts. When we developed universal health coverage, the one president is saying is agenda 4. I remember very well, as CECs we were called to the hotel in Mbai. And I remember the first thing I told that gathering was, you know, it was not necessary even to bring us to this hotel. I'm not saying that going to a hotel is bad, but when you bring us in a hotel to discuss universal health coverage, then you pay a lot of money, you lose the point, because you discuss that without having the touch. There is no connection between you and Wanjiko on the ground. And that's why you find government have very good policies, they have very good interventions, they discuss them in boardrooms, they do a lot of PowerPoint presentations, and finally, there is no connection between what is said in the boardroom and what is happening in Murang'a Hospital, the pediatric ward, where he is working as a few of you. And that is where the challenge normally is. Then you find that the president has been informed by people who have interests. People who are thinking about the next election, but not the next generation. And then you find, now, they are telling us we all must buy drugs from cancer. And because they are saying now we are rolling out USC now from February next year, you must also start preparing yourself. How do you deal with it? Because once it is rolled out in Murang'a, then it means our hospitals will become full. So what will you do? How many hours are you supposed to work a day? Will you leave queues for the line to go home? What will you do? Government rarely listens to technical advice. I became a chief officer in this county in the year 2014, and I found a system that was too much protocol, too much bureaucracies. And we try to work very hard to make sure that we embrace everyone so that we are able to work as a team and deliver the mandates that have been bestowed on us. And I made very radical decisions that many of you may not make if you got my position. I never used to care whether if I send a doctor for training, whether they will be a gap. Because I used to believe that if I send a doctor to school, I am helping this country, isn't it? My intention was not necessarily even to send a doctor to go and study and come back to Murang'a, but I was thinking that because Murang'a people also are in Nairobi and Murang'a people are also in Mombasa and Kisumu, if I gave Dr. Kamado a good training and my son happens to work in Kisumu, when he goes to Akan or Jaramogi Oginga, he'll find a trained doctor, a qualified one. So it was on that premise. And because I know that most of the time we are not always in Murang'a, you will end up in Nairobi, you will get an accident and you'll be taken to hospital. If you have a proper trained doctor who came from Murang'a and is found in Kenyatta and they find my brother Kimandu is the one at the table, you will be sure that you have the best person to take care of. I still don't believe in the school of thought where people are denied a chance to go to school. You can put me anywhere you want. You can put me anywhere if you want. Even my PA knows very well that when we go for discussions and people are saying that you shouldn't send a doctor to school, my issue is normally, why don't you get another solution other than denying somebody a chance to go and study? Because life is not static. Life moves. People grow old, isn't it? If you miss the third year today, tomorrow, if you miss to go to school today, tomorrow you will not be the same age when you go to that school, isn't it? And sometimes it is necessary for people to study when they are still young. Yeah? Because the aging process also slows some. You are medical doctors, you know this better than me, isn't it? But I want to say this. Governments have systems, and they have structures, and they have procedures that must be followed. So I want to encourage you, as you request for the trainings and all that, please also follow those procedures. Where we can defend you, we shall defend you. Where it goes haywire, we shall accommodate, and then we shall request you to probably extend by a year or so. But I'm finding most of you resigning, which is a very dangerous thing. I am not an advocate or a person to resign and go to school. I would really want somebody to be supported and go to school and come back and serve for age. Okay? And that is the spirit that I have. And who is this government? Who is this government? Government, it is people. Don't think that because you want to say that government is here. Government is people. And it is people who make decisions. And it is people who make bad decisions. And it is people who make good decisions. And it is people who make good policies, and it is people who make bad policies. And then they say the government said. So if you make a bad policy, which suffocates people, then you say it's the government. You know the natural law of justice will still catch up with you. Because decisions are supposed to be progressive and transformative, but not to suffocate or intimidate or actually put somebody in a situation where they cannot be able to move ahead. Are we together? So I want to encourage you, and I want you to work with a spirit whereby if you go to work in such a way that even if somebody came behind, you would say, indeed, there was a doctor here who was working. I'm also surprised because some of you doctors really abscond there. And we are aware. Those who abscond duty. And then another thing you people do, you cover one another so badly. I go to a hospital, I ask for a roster, and the guy does not want to give it to me because he knows I will discover somebody is not in and is being covered by another. You know, honesty is very good. And me, I always say, if you have a problem, say it shall help you. But I don't want to tolerate a case whereby I come to a hospital, I find you are the one supposed to be on duty, but you are away. For that reason, then it becomes very difficult to work as a team. And then some of you are overworked. And when you are overworked, it is your colleagues who are overworking you because they are away. I wonder whether they pay you when they go to do those locals and you cover them. They pay you. I don't know. You need to tell me that. But there is one thing I want you always to remember. When you cover somebody when they are doing wrong, it will come back to you. And you know, because most of you I know are good. The good ones, they cover the bad ones. Are you good or bad? You have been covered many times, eh? But you know, Napoleon said, this world suffers so much, not because of violence or bad people, but because of silence of good people like you who keep quiet when bad things are happening. So you realize that when you keep quiet when a bad thing is happening, then you are worse than the violent one. Because silence now will propagate other things. And I want to instill a spirit of performance and service to all the doctors who work in Murang'a. If I have given you a job and I'm paying you a salary as the government, please work for that salary. There is blessing, there is joy when you receive your salary at the end of the month, and you know very well that I put my 40 hours in a week. But when you receive a salary and you have absconded 3 days, it really becomes a serious thing. That's theft. So when people are being charged for corruption, you should actually not talk. You should keep quiet. Because you have stolen my hours. And consultants have a problem. They are the serious absconders. They come for 1 hour. Sometimes they don't even train my interns properly because they are not there. No, let's speak the truth. Yeah? Some of your colleagues are never available to train the interns. Burnout working in their own clinics. That's what it is telling me. So I want to encourage you to stop doing those things. Let's concentrate. In fact, if an intern comes to Murang'a Hospital and is supposed to be trained by you as a gynecologist, the ones who are in Obsgen, please mentor them. Let them get that information. You are also mentored. If the person who was mentoring you absconded, you wouldn't be a good gynecologist, isn't it? You know, you are taking as a joke and I'm very serious. You know, I can start revisiting your issue. Anyway, on a light note, but what I'm saying is, let us support one another in resistance. If you have been given a responsibility, please do it. And because me, I don't want to be a policeman. By then, I'm very good in policy, if I decide to. It's only that I don't want to. When I was in class, I was trained very thoroughly about management and supervision and all that. But I know doctors are good people, they were best students in school, they are bright, they know. I like imagining that doctors know what they are supposed to do. You cannot police a doctor. And even if you wanted to police one, how would you go and supervise a cesarean section? Or how would you supervise that? If there was a surgical intervention being done on a patient, how would you supervise that? So I want to believe that doctors know what they are doing. Yeah? If there are postmortems to be done, Dr. Kamoto, be available, do them. Don't let patients suffer in the lines because I don't know you went where. Please deliver that service. And because we are paying you a salary, I want to say that if you feel that you cannot be able to serve, just resign And then we shall employ somebody who can serve more, free that salary. Yeah? Now, the ones I've sent to school have started coming back. And one of the greatest things, the people who are naysayers, and they were talking very badly, when started coming back, now we have an oncologist, isn't it? And we have surgeons coming back, we have orthopedic coming back. When they come back now to Murang'a, you will see the level of service goes up. And then our interns now will start getting better training and all that. So we become a center for excellence because we have all those consultants. So that spirit of service and performance, I want you to place it, impart it on these ones, the ones who are coming behind you, and make sure they have a spirit of performance and service. And with those many remarks, I want to stop there. I want to request that I will sit down, yes, but I will leave at some point. Thank you very much.